Yeah, folks, it's time for my favorite video that no one watches, the annual thumbnail review, where I walk you through all of the Marvel Snap thumbnails I made this year. Many of you will know I take two characters and fuse their art together to make my thumbnails a little more unique and special, and people seem to enjoy them and to click on them a lot. So I thought it'd be fun to recap that process, show you what I do, how I do it, why I do certain things, how I think about it, and I think also it's just some nice nostalgia to think about cards that were released throughout the course of the year. Now, I will say, as you're watching this, I am currently on vacation for the last couple weeks of the year, so I am probably missing the last couple weeks of thumbnails. I don't have those done yet as I'm recording this, but it's most of the year. We're probably still going to go through like 320 thumbnails if I had to guess. I don't make Marvel Snap videos every day, but most days. So a lot of thumbnails to go through in this video. So I'm just going to go through and talk about each of them 10, 15 seconds, a minute or two if they're really interesting. Kicking things off here with the first thumbnail of the year, I guess, in 2025. This is obviously Titania and Red Hulk fused together. This is one where pretty simple recolor here, turning her skin red to match Red Hulk. One complex thing I can see here is added some rips into her clothing. This is clearly not something that's on the normal Titania, but to indicate that she's larger, I added some rips here, and here, and some fabric torn elements being strewn about, which I guess is nice. I don't know if this is the first example or not, but I know, at some point in the last year or so, I started recoloring the lighting on characters. In the past, I didn't go to the trouble of adjusting like edge lighting. Like most artwork in Marvel Snap, pretty much all the base art has like edge lighting where it's like, they'll have a black costume, but it'll have like yellow edge lighting for a yellow background or blue edge lighting for a blue background. Used to, I wouldn't go to the trouble to do that, and I would just like recolor it purple or whatever. Like her costume here is purple, I would just recolor it purple. Lately, I've been maintaining the color of the edge lighting or changing it if it's demanded, because I use a different background or merging two characters together, they have mismatched lighting. I go in and it adds a lot more depth. I don't know if I made this one blue to match this blue background or if that's just kind of the bright version of the purple. I think maybe I didn't go to the trouble here. It doesn't look quite as customized as I normally would like, but that's something we'll talk about as we go. I just wanted to add some extra depth. Added an extra, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to every thumbnail, but it's been worth it. I think they really pop. Speaking of, let's go to our next thumbnail here. This is, I guess, Mystique and Victoria Hand, which this was, I remember, not a very popular thumbnail. It's like sometimes the characters are just a little too boring, right? Like it's, I don't know, like the merge process isn't that interesting, or the character's just kind of boring by default. And I just remember this one not being that popular for a views standpoint. I think it's pretty cool. Like merging their faces together, I remember being a little weird. I kind of had to hand paint in this like blue transition process to match the hair, because like it's there on the base art, but it's like a different face that doesn't make sense with Victoria Hand. So I think this hair is still Mystique's hair, but I had to, or I don't remember actually. I don't know. It looks like such a perfect match. I remember doing something with the painting in there as well. It's Mystique's body though, with Victoria Hand's like arms and like coat. I remember that being a little bit of a weird fit, but I felt like it kind of looked like it matched right, and then just recolored the hand here blue for Victoria Hand. So I actually think this is pretty well executed, all things considered. I just think maybe the character wasn't that popular, and that's what held this one back, if I remember. This one is so sick, dude. I remember being so proud of this. This is Gambit and Swarm, obviously, for some kind of like Swarm Victoria Hand deck, it looks like. A couple really cool things done in this one, right? Number one is like Gambit's hat on the face, or like not his hat, it's like his hair and his mask and stuff, like making his face look like the Swarm was pretty cool. But the really interesting part here is the bees, giving the bees the coloring of Gambit's explosive cards, right? It was actually, I remember it being kind of hard to figure out how to do that. I had to do some weird coloring tweaks in Photoshop that I thought was pretty cool at the time. I think now I could replicate that a little more easily, but I thought that was a really cool touch. I can tell you here, this is one where I did not update the edge lighting. This has the edge lighting of like a neutral background. Nowadays, I would make this rim lighting on Gambit's body or Swarm's body, whatever. I would make it blue to match this setting so that the character popped a little better. You would probably make this red too, to reflect, like on his hands, to reflect the red pink hue of this. I can tell this is one where I just simplified it down to all blue instead of maintaining any lighting. So still really cool. I mean, this is a really neat touch with the bees, I think. Oh, I apparently have multiple versions. I must have tweaked the coloring here a little bit. This is, you guys don't probably know how many times I make little tweaks to thumbnails. I'm not sure exactly what I did about this to make it better. I mean, it's just like repositioned a little bit, recolored a little bit, probably to make it match the setting. I put Meek in there. I don't know which one came first, so I have no idea. Okay, so this is Iron Patriot and Hulkling. This is not my favorite, right? It's just kind of boring. I can tell you too here, no edge lighting retained. This is like purple lighting that should be yellow like the cape, you know? So it looks a little flatter than it should from a coloring standpoint. I mean, it's just Iron Patriot's body with Hulkling's wings, sword, and head. It's fine. You know, the recolor does convey a lot. I think thumbnails tend to do better the more I've recolored it. If you just like pop a head on, it doesn't do as well as if you do a full recolor, because that really stands out in people's minds, right? Like they're like, oh, that looks very different than the normal version, so it's a little bit more eye-catching. I guess we also added the sword here to his hand, but like, I don't know, that looks, I guess it looks okay. The perspective is at least right. Sometimes perspective stuff is really weird on hands. So I can tell you I missed a green element right here. This is green on this side, but not on this side. So I'm annoyed at myself for missing that. Whoops. This is Moonstone Captain Carter. I remember Moonstone is really hard to work with because she has super zoomed out art. Like it's a lot of characters are more zoomed in, so there's like more detail in the art, whereas Moonstone was like really zoomed out, and she's really skinny too. Like it's just like a very narrow piece of art. Like Mystique, you know, same body type basically, but fills the frame a lot more detail, a lot fuller. There we do have the hair from Mystique, by the way. I'm sure I used that original hair from Mystique or whatever. But Captain Carter, or excuse me, Moonstone's a lot harder to work with. She's so zoomed out, you have to really blow her up. The shield helped here. The Captain Carter shield or Captain America shield I probably used. I don't think Carter's shield is... Oh, this must be Captain America, not Captain Carter, because there's no... Yeah, it's just Carter's shield is different, I guess. So anyway, Captain America, this must be Moonstone's release card. That helps kind of fill the space a little bit better. That's obviously also Captain America's background. Again, I can tell you I did not do any advanced lighting here, so it looks a little bit flat on the sides of the costume and stuff. Just looks very blue. Oh, this is sick. Agatha plus Ghost Rider. I'm pretty sure this is a reused piece of thumbnail art, which I try not to do often. I accidentally did it once recently, but I didn't even realize I did it. I just remade the same one accidentally. We'll talk about that later. But I think I probably added in the peak locations here because it was important to the deck. I don't do this much, but also probably to make the art stand out a little bit better. Oh, and you can see me exploring with edge lighting here finally. This has adjusted edge lighting, but it's not done very well. It's a little clunky. I think I would do this a lot better nowadays, but I can clearly see where I tried to give it the kind of orange glow from the fire for the edge lighting. But Agatha Ghost Rider here, pretty cool. I think I've done other versions of this too where I do the like stitching on her costume, this kind of gilding better as well. So not the best one again, but it's fine. So this is Hela and Silver Samurai. Yeah, I remember this. I can also see I'm exploring here with edge lighting again, retaining the yellow lighting. But again, I don't think it looks very good yet. I think I wasn't good at it. I think I used like a feathering here that makes it look a little too blurry or messy. It probably looks good far away, but looking at it up close, it's like, yeah, I don't love it. I can see I also retained some of his, there's like anytime it's a metal character, right, they have this extra layer that is the kind of shiny elements laid over the top. So it looks like I reapplied that, but I didn't recolor them. They look a little too silver and blue. I should have given them more of a green hue to match her costume here. But I think I also had to manually customize her bust here, it looks like. I don't remember doing this necessarily, but sometimes if I gender swap, I keep the, you know, like I try to match up there, giving her an actual bust, and probably thinned out her waist a little bit too. So it actually looks pretty good even now, to be honest. Like I think I did a decent job at that. This is Ant-Man and Mr. Fantastic. I remember this one I had to run a lot of like custom like these bands from his mask and on his costume and stuff. Like these are a pretty prominent feature of Ant-Man's costume. But I had to like layer all this over Mr. Fantastic's costume. Even like this chest piece, you can see it's like, this is all like layered over it, which I think looks okay. I don't think it looks great. I think I need to add a line to the edge of that to indicate that's there. I don't know if you guys can see all that, but I think it looks okay. I also put some versions in the back where he's like getting bigger. I don't know if you can see the smaller versions in the back, the transparent ones, which is pretty cool. So a little bit of an advanced technique there. You can see some lazy layering, which is fine. You can't make everything perfect, but does actually add a lot to the Ant-Man aesthetic. I think having that like banding on it seems pretty important. Next up is, oh yeah, Snap ban. This is when Snap got banned. Remember? Man, it's only been a year ago. So I just put the like silenced effect on just basic United States themed cards, and Snap got banned in the United States specifically. So, you know, we got 3 US themed cards with the silence effect. Here again, lazy lighting. I made it purple in the background. I don't know why I made it purple in the background. Maybe just for a contrast to kind of match this purple. But lazy, I would make this yellow lighting on his rim lighting purple today to make him pop. Oh, this is, yeah, I remember this. This is Dakin and Arnim Zola, of course. I gave Arnim Zola the coloring of Dakin where he's like, he doesn't wear a shirt, you know, so it's like skin colored. Dakin's skin color, and I gave him like the claws as well, which I remember these being a weird perspective challenge. And it looks okay. I don't think it's like perfect, but it worked out all right. This one in particular looks pretty good. And then Dakin in the chest here with like some like VHS, you know, like bad screen effect. I had to like overlay. I don't know. I probably just found something on Google to work with that. Background looks like it's probably been adjusted as well for contrast. No, I think Dakin's actually red by default, but again, no good lighting on this. No edge lighting to match the background, makes him look really flat, which I don't love. This is Bullseye and Gambit. So I had to like make this card glow like Gambit's cards. So I gave it that like pink glow we talked about earlier with the bees, but I also had to put Gambit's head on Bullseye, which I remember being a crazy hard challenge because this pose for Bullseye is so weird. He's really hard to work with because he's like looking backward with his head, and like no cards have that perspective. And you'll see this Gambit I used is like one of the variants that just happen to have a matchup. Like I don't usually use variants for these. I usually use only base card art, but specifically had to find a variant that matched. That's why he's got that weird kind of face like he's eating. I think it's like the food variant or something. I also remember putting his like his staff or whatever didn't really fit the hands well because Bullseye has this really weird skinny hands. I like lighting on that's a little weird too. It's like too green looking, but I don't know. It worked. I made it work. This is obviously just Ben Brode on Iron Patriot talking about when Snap came back online. Nothing fancy there. This is Gladiator and Lady Deathstrike, which actually looks pretty cool, honestly. I gave the hands from Lady Deathstrike, the head from Lady Deathstrike, and the torso from Lady Deathstrike, but that's the arms and the legs, and of course the cape from Gladiator, which is pretty cool. Lighting here, again, doesn't look like I did much work on the lighting. I don't know, some of it's like orangey red, and I'm not sure why, where that came from. Maybe I did something, but it doesn't look great. But this actually looks pretty good. The recolor on this, I remember being kind of annoying because I had to cut out all these little yellow guys for her chest to like recolor it or something, I think. But actually comes across pretty well. Yeah, I like that one. Oh, this is sick. Red Hulk and Ares, it seems. So just taking the wait, where's that fire coming from? Why is it so fiery? Was this like a triple combination? Where's the fire? It's obviously Red Hulk and Ares, but that fire, that's not on Ares, is it? And like the fiery helmet's not an Ares thing either, is it? I made it look like fire. I don't know why. Is it maybe Surtur? Oh, I think it's a triple. It's Surtur, Ares. Oh no, it's not Red Hulk. It's just Surtur. Oh, that's what it is. It's supposed to be Surtur and Ares. So I think I made the like Mohawk look like fire, added some of the fire from Surtur, and you know, turned his skin red like Surtur to convey those two. This background looks weird to me. It's like super blue. I'm sure I did that for contrast because blue is a natural contrast to orange and red to make the character pop, which happens sometimes, but it almost looks a little too aggressive. I think I would probably tone that down a little bit today. Again, no good lighting here either. Like this yellow lighting on the leg makes no sense with the blue background. Like, yes, the fire could indicate yellow lighting, but it wouldn't probably reach all the way down here. So not good. This is Ares and Leader, which is fun. Turning him green and just giving him that big old leader head. This is again not the normal Leader base art, but probably had the right perspective for this character's head, like looking kind of up and to the right or whatever. I can also see some lazy coloring back here. It looks like I just recolored this. Well, I didn't really recolor it green, but I must have adjusted the U or something. But that green up there looks really odd and out of place given the background. So this is Cap and Sam Wilson Cap. Just basically popping Captain America's head on Sam Wilson and adding the extra shield here. I think normally he's just like got his arm up or whatever. So pretty simple, but I think effective. It's cool to see two shields there. And I think I remember adding maybe some like, no, I think that's actually the base shadow on Cap. I don't think I added that. That looks like the base shadow. I don't think I did that. So this is Iceman and Joaquin Torres, right? Which just basically did a recolor on Joaquin's body with Iceman's face. I can see that I tried to do a little bit of a recolor on the lighting with some of this yellow, but it doesn't look as like, it doesn't really match Iceman's. Iceman's U is also just slightly different blue than the body. Probably can't tell that at scale, but it's bugging me a little bit. It's like, just, it's hard to sometimes get like the perfect color match. It's really tough because there's like, you know, different views and different rendering styles. It's just not always easy, but that looks okay. Pretty high drama contrast there. This is Cap and M'Baku, of course, which is pretty cool. This is basically a recolor. Oh, it's Sam Wilson Cap, specifically because we got the wings in there. So just kind of did a recolor on all the M'Baku stuff. That basically just constitutes like, you know, cutting it out into different layers. Color this layer blue, color this layer red, color this layer white, and pop the shield on top and you're done. I can see I took his staff out as well. Simplified. I probably had to, yeah, it looks like I manually kind of painted in some of the like fur here over the top of his hand to cover the gap of where the staff used to be. This is Joaquin and Thanos. I gave a gauntlet here, popped on the new head and did a recolor, put the throne in the background. This head is actually not from the game. All the Thanos art is like super zoomed out or doesn't match the style. So I remember I always have to grab a Thanos head from like, I don't know, it's like from some comic panel or whatever. And then I think I even like mirror the helmet because the helmet's weird in the comic panel. And then I had this laying around, so I just grabbed the one I already made, you know. Anytime you need a Thanos head, sometimes I just make people look like Thanos by adding the lines to their chin or whatever. But in this case, I decided to go for the full Thanos head, I guess. Looks okay, I suppose. This is High Evo Thanos. This actually looks pretty dang sick. I think anytime you use this Thanos body with a recolor and a head, it's a really popular thumbnail too. This video has gotten a ton of views, I think. It just looks really, really cool. High Evo Thanos is a cool combo. I remember I had to manually add these little rivet thingies from High Evo because that's pretty central to his costume, I felt like. I can also tell I'm experimenting again with the edge lighting, but it looks bad. It probably looks okay from far away, but it just looks bad to me now that I do better. So this is Surtur and Thaddeus. This is fine, right? Just adding some fire, coloring him red, giving him a tail. I think that looks fine. This is what? Adam Warlock and Loki. Yeah, Adam Warlock and Loki. So a bit of a recolor, giving the Loki horns and helmet and staff to Adam Warlock. I think that's fine, yeah. Not the most, you know, transformative. Again, no edge lighting or anything, so a little flat. This is cool. Scorpion and Doc Ock. Cool matchup because they have like a natural color palette fit anyway. So I remember I just had to take the Scorpion tail and basically make 4 of them and change the perspective a little bit to make it look like Doc Ock's arms. I remember hating how the head didn't really fit the body shape or like perspective this well, but it like kind of passes if you just glance. I think ultimately it's still a pretty cool looking character combination. So even if it's not perfect perspective or whatever, it's okay. This is Ronan and Master Mold. It's really hard to work with Ronan again. His pose is super weird. It's hard to do combinations. I'm sure this is probably just a little bit of a recolor, and I just used the like Sentinels from Master Mold's background to kind of convey the Master Mold idea. Master Mold also super hard to work with because he's like super static and there's like it's too complex. So these are actually, it's really two really hard cards to combine, frankly, are Ronan and Master Mold. I think I did a good job given the limitations here. This is Red Wing and Dracula. Again, Red Wing, crazy hard to work with because you know, it's not a human character, right? It's non-human, so it's really, really tough to work with. So just having the Red Wing hold the Dracula was probably the best I could do. I'm really worried about this for the upcoming dragon season as well. Like dragons are going to be super hard to combine with people. It might just be like recolors and stuff like this, little cheats, you know. I think it's fine. It gets the idea across. These thumbnails don't tend to do as well usually when there's multiple characters. It's like not as big and obvious. It's like a little more complicated for the eye to catch. So they always seem to do a little worse, but you do what you can. Here's an example though of Red Wing Galactus, giving Galactus Red Wing's wings and recoloring Galactus to match the Red Wing was I actually think it kind of works, by the way. I think it's really not that bad. The wings kind of sell it, you know, and it's a dramatic recolor, like I said, which tends to be eye-catching for people. So I think actually kind of successful. Now this is interesting because this is the one I accidentally remade like a week ago. We'll see it later, but this is Anti-Venom and Iron Man together, which we just played this deck recently too. I did a lot of the exact same things, which again, I thought when I was making it, I was like, man, this feels familiar. I don't know if I remade this before or what. I do see a few things I did differently. I don't have any edge lighting on this one though, whereas I do have edge lighting on the other one, which maybe I'll try to pull it up. Let me see if I can find it real fast so we can do a one-to-one comparison. All right, here you go, actually. New one on the left, old one on the right. So you can see what I'm talking about with like the lighting here. Like, you know, like right here, there's some of that orange lighting over here on the arm. There's some of that orange lighting. I honestly don't think the lighting really looks that good on this one, even though I just made this. You know, it's probably one that was like a little bit harder to light. In some ways, I think the old one actually reads better, if I'm honest. Like, I think it has like higher contrast because of the black. I like what I did better with the black chest piece, right? It did like lose some detail. Like you can see these black elements, I went like fully washed out, whereas these retain some of the like suit detailing and stuff. And the like color on this one doesn't have as much of the magenta in it. Like this has more like magenta, and this is like fully desaturated, which his head and stuff does have some of that magenta mid-tone in it. So it's like, I don't know. There's some things I like better and some things I like worse. The spikes on this one actually look a little, I don't know, like the alignment of the spikes is a little more obvious to read. So I don't know. Like, I think in some ways this is more technically competent. I think there's more showcase of skill here, but in a lot of ways, I think this one actually just reads better. So I don't know. I think the higher contrast on this kind of looks better. I'm a little surprised. Oh, I remember this being really hard. This is obviously Bruce Banner, Hulk, and Scarlet Spider using the Scarlet Spider clone, which is cool. But like I needed something that was able to utilize this arm from Bruce Banner in a way that kind of matched up. So this position, this perspective or whatever on Scarlet Spider actually did work fairly well for that. You can kind of hide it behind hide the seam behind the hoodie here. There's some cool little details like extra little fabric flying off that's red, and his wrist thingy, like his web cartridges or whatever on his wrist, you can see them snapping off and flying away. There's one here and one here because I realized like, well, obviously those aren't going to fit on the giant Hulk arms. They're going to break off like the fabric and fly off, which I thought was actually a really cool little detail, honestly. Here again, you can see the edge lighting though. It's like yellow. It doesn't match. I would nowadays change that to blue to match the background and the lighting on Scarlet Spider. So this is, I guess, Diamondback and Hazmat. Yeah, okay, that's cool. So just basically Hazmat's helmet, a recolor on Diamondback, and giving the green glow from Hazmat's hands and on the like shards that Diamondback throws out. Again, this one would be helped a lot by some of that blue edge lighting here. Like it looks like it really needs it. Just looks a little too yellow, but still pretty cool. So this is Rocket and Doctor Strange for Sanctum Showdown. Pretty cool. Just putting Rocket's head on Strange and then doing the hands. I remember I had to like get the fur fabric on here, so just did like a, I don't know, like a clipping mask or something over this to make it look furry. Probably just stole that from his face or something. And then I think I added some of these little like shiny tufts of fur as well to the hands, just to really sell that the hands are Rocket's hands. This one was a nightmare, I remember, dude. Uncle Ben's another one like we talked about with Bullseye, where he's like looking in such a weird perspective that it's really hard to merge him with anybody. So I basically just hand painted Carnage's symbiote costume over Ben's face. Like, you know, I think I took like the edge of the real Carnage, but then I had to like, you know, these like little areas here I think are literally laid in and like hand painted by me, dude. I just went in and like probably like smudged the shape in and stuff and like just tried my best and added like little tendrils coming out of his body. Did the same thing over here on his hands. It's like a little bit clipping mask, a little bit hand painting to like get this effect. It was a nightmare. And I mean, it conveys the idea, but I still don't think it looks that good, honestly. Like, it's just really hard to work with. So this is, I guess, White Queen and Copycat. So using like Copycat's blue skin here with White Queen's body. I think the the color match here was a little tough. If I remember, there's like a lot of magenta in this copycat that was hard to match up. But I think it looks pretty cool. I remember this not being as popular as I wanted initially, but then it did eventually gain quite a bit of views later. This is Drax and what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Laufey, I guess. Yeah, it is Laufey. I don't know why I thought that wasn't his name. So this one was like, you know, using Drax coloring and Drax's tattoos, which were kind of weird. He's had to lay them like under these like ice cubes that stick out of Laufey, right? That was a little bit strange, but you can see me playing it again with the lighting a little bit, but again, I don't think it's very good. I don't know why I was so much worse at it back then, but he does have some edge lighting that matches Laufey's lighting. So I did try to retain that at least, which is pretty cool. So this is Gorgon and I guess Red Hulk, right? Just like this one is always a nightmare to recolor though, because there's like a lot of little things you got to cut out manually, right? Like cut out all this stuff to retain the coloring. So a little bit tough, just a lot of detail, but pretty simple. I think it looks okay. Anytime you get like red skin, it's pretty dramatic and noticeable. This is Mr. Negative Morph with Agamotto's head, which the Mr. Negative ones are actually pretty easy to do. I actually just do like an invert and then kind of readjust the balance on the like neutrals and highlights and stuff to make them like more dramatic and give it a little bit of a like green cyan type filter as well. But the negative ones are pretty easy and look pretty good usually. This is cool. Sauron and Starbrand together. So Starbrand's body recolored green with Sauron's head, which yeah, it looks nice. I think it was a bit annoying to recolor this because you had to cut out like this red stuff all over the place. But that like lightning effect is a screened filter over the top, which isn't too hard to do. Oh, here's another Starbrand with Venom. Again, pretty cool. Venom's a little bit hard to color sometimes because it's like you need to make him black, but he also has this kind of blue, cyan, green stuff going on and a lot of green lighting. But I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, the head's like kind of disconnected a little bit, but that's okay. It's kind of needs to pop out. This is Galactus and Eson, so just a color on Eson's body to make him match Galactus, and the Galactus head plopped on here. This again is not the normal Galactus head because it's got a really weird leaned back perspective. You needed one that was more up front, so I had to rip one of the variants, which doesn't match perfectly from a style standpoint, but I think this was still a very popular thumbnail, and I think it looks actually pretty good as well. This is Hellcow and Cerebro, which proved very challenging to put Cerebro's helmet on Hellcow, but I think we specifically needed it to be Hellcow because it was like 6 power, right? Like I remember that being a thing, like it was like the 6 power Cerebro because something got nerfed or buffed or whatever. So you can't really put the helmet on Hellcow itself. So I had to like, you know, pierce the horn through Cerebro's helmet, which you can see I did this like little metal rip thing here where the horn's going through. There's some weird lighting and stuff. There's a problem there. And then also like some broken pieces of Cerebro's cords flying around as well. And like Hellcow's bit one off under its teeth there. So that was a weird, tough one. And I remember not being popular like most Cerebros. This is Agamotto plus Sam Wilson. So adding the Eye of Agamotto necklace here, some green lighting on his hands and around the shield, which looks, I guess, okay. I remember Agamotto being pretty tough in general because he has like a lot of, I don't know, there's like a lot of detail in his character and it's like, it doesn't play well with like recolors and stuff. So a lot of like head popped on and manipulations. This is Misery and Firehair. So thankfully like Misery and Firehair both have red hair. So you can just kind of pop Misery's head on Firehair's body and it actually still looks like a pretty good fit. Then it was about adding the big tendril spikes from the back and then adding some like really nice little custom transformation elements to her body and her arms here. You can see like the gloopy, carnagey symbiote stuff, which actually I think looks pretty good. That's actually fairly effective, I would have to say. I don't remember all the details, but some of this looks like it was definitely like hand painted in. Probably like cut out little segments and, you know, overlaid the white and the red, and it looks pretty nice. I actually think this is very, very effective thumbnail. I like it a lot. Here is Firehair and Thanos, I guess. Is that the normal Firehair face? I don't even remember what it looks like, to be honest, but recolored her purple, added the chin lines, gave her the gauntlet that's flaming, which looks pretty cool. That's the Thanos background as well. She's floating in space, I guess. It looks pretty good. This must be Galactus and Firehair, I guess. Or Galacta, excuse me. I remember this one being weird because of something with the art. I like didn't have the Galacta art for some reason. That's why all these dots are here. They're like overlaid the art normally. I don't remember. There's something weird about this, but Pretty simple transformation, I guess, just popping the head on. Maybe did a bit of a skin recolor or something, but I don't know. That one looks pretty good. Oh, this is sick. Black Panther and Odin. This looks really cool, actually, man. This looks awesome. Really, I think this one, there was only one hard part. Like, it's just a recolor to black instead of Odin's like blue or whatever, which was pretty nice and easy. But Odin has this like beard, this like really long beard that goes down towards that chain. And that didn't make any sense coming out of Black Panther, right? And I didn't want like that weird beard texture there. So I had to like take his netting of his costume elsewhere and like put it in where the beard is. Like you can see under his head here, there's like that netting and like that texture there from like the arms and legs. And I think I even had to like mold the shape of it to like naturally fill that space. You know, it was like probably like straight lines. I had to like warp it to have that curve. But looks pretty cool. I think the lighting on this is not customized, but it was like a pretty close match anyway. So I guess I did retain the yellow lighting here instead of making it dark. So, but I don't think I had to do a match much. So this is Ghost Rider and first Ghost Rider, which is funny. It was really just taking the first Ghost Rider's character out and putting Ghost Rider in. I think I had to do something to kind of line up the bones here a little bit from the like harnesses or whatever. There was some weird layering on this mammoth too. I remember the files had a weird layering, but ultimately looks pretty good. This is Khonshu and Moon Knight, which is a really cool fit. I like using Khonshu a lot because his head's like really dramatic when it's floating. I just use it with Weapon H. But the color match on this was super easy because Moon Knight's costume is already white, and then you know, just give that neck brace thing from Khonshu to create that really obvious black gap where there's no neck, because that really helps sell it, and then pop the head on. I think I remember maybe doing something with flipping the moon to make it align with the chest moon, which has probably also been flipped because I think Moon Knight's orientation there is flipped, but I don't remember the details. Here's Khonshu Galactus, again, just a recolor with Moon Knight, or excuse me, with Khonshu's head on it. That looks pretty sick, actually. That's cool. Pretty simple recolor. Sometimes it's hard to recolor stuff to white, but I think I've gotten it down to a bit more of a science. This is Sauron Surtur. So green Surtur with Sauron's flaming head and that cool like eyebrow thing he's got. Pretty simple stuff here. The green to me looks weird for some reason. I don't know. It looks a little flat. Might be an edge lighting thing. Oh, this is a cool one. Khonshu Cerebro. I remember this. This is one of the few times I'm able to use the base Cerebro helmet where the perspective actually looks pretty good. Usually it's a little weird. But just a recolor on Cerebro's helmet to match the white and gold and just the Khonshu body. It's not much, but it actually looks really cool. I think that's really epic. That's just a variant video or something. This one was crazy, dude. This was for my daughter's video where she made my deck. And it just had like a bunch of random stuff in it, like cute characters, dogs and cats and stuff. So that's Goose's head on the thing, but getting Goose's head to look like it matched the thing was like crazy challenging. And I have like 10 versions that are worse. I wonder if I actually can pull those up. I know roughly when this came out. I bet I can find it. But basically getting that stone texture so hard. But what I essentially had to do was cut out all of the features of Goose, like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the whiskers, the ears, and then like overlay those basically over two chunks that kind of created the right shape and shadow of the head. So one chunk here for like the nose down is like, I don't know, I stole it from somewhere else. You might be able to find it on the body somewhere, right? But like, it's basically a chunk from the arm or body or something that has been repurposed and resized and shaped in there. And then another chunk from here for the top of the head as well that matched like the lighting and again, just like fuse those together. Let's see, that came out in like April. I might have made that in March though, because I think we were on a trip. Do I have other worse versions of that? Yes, I do. Okay, hold up. Look at this. Like, this is what I had for a long time at first, where it was just like Goose's head just plopped on. And I had like a really subtle stone texture, but it still has so much of the fur texture and stuff. And it just didn't look right. Like, it didn't really look like it matched, right? It was like too subtle of a stone texture. So once I figured this out, I was like, dude, that looks so sick. It looks so good. In hindsight today, I would actually add more of a black line around the border here. I didn't really do much with the black line around the border. Like, that would match up better, but still really, really proud of how that turned out. This is Lasher plus Mr. Sinister. So just like a full-on recolor to green. Kind of lazy and kind of flat, honestly. I did do some of the edge lighting, but it looks weird still. I don't know what I'm doing there that looks weird. This looks like Spectrum and Captain Carter, which this looks pretty simply just Spectrum's head on Captain Carter, which kind of boring, honestly, but I guess it gets the job done. Next up is Kahori plus Snow Guard. So again, pretty simple here. It looks like I just kind of plopped Kahori down in front of the Snow Guard animals. Maybe did a bit of a recolor on her hands, if I had to guess. Seems like those are maybe more blue than before, but just kind of layered her in. Pretty simple, but effective. Here's another Mr. Negative one. Nothing fancy there. Here is Ultron Patriot. So just a recolor and putting the shield on there. Again, pretty simple recolor. Nothing there too dramatic. This is Hell Cow and First Ghost Riders. Instead of the mammoth, just putting Hell Cow, like a giant Hell Cow that he's riding. This is, again, easy but good. This is Sebastian Shaw and Lasher. So, you know, just plopping the tendrils in the face, and looks like maybe recoloring the glowing hand elements is about all for that one. This is I guess supposed to be Infinity Ultron and Silver Surfer, maybe. Yeah, okay, there's a surfboard under him there, I see. Yeah. Silver Surfer ones are always just kind of never that excited about them, but they sometimes they're pretty dramatic looking. I think they do okay, but pretty boring, I think. Here, I think I just basically had to go in and recolor everything to kind of match the surfboard. Oh, this is Adam Warlock Infinity Ultron, which is kind of crazy. Another dramatic recolor here. I don't really love how the face doesn't have any mechanical elements to it. I would maybe try to fix that today, adding some of that mechanical layering, but it's probably just really hard and was time constrained and who knows what else. This is Toxie plus Mysterio. I just really do not remember making this at all. I'm sure I was looking desperately for something for Mysterio, which makes sense. He gets buffed by Toxie. So it looks like it did a recolor and like layered his scarf over. I do kind of remember having to like manually shape this scarf to go over her collar or something weird. And I mean, for this head, I've done this a few times for Mysterio. We just kind of plop the head in and feather the edges so it looks like it's inside, you know, overlaid this little part here. It looks like it's translucent or whatever. But yeah, that actually looks pretty good, to be honest. I don't remember exactly all the details, but I don't even hardly remember making that. This is High Evo and Miles, it seems. So recolor on High Evo's body and Miles' face in there. Looks like I added a kind of graffiti Spider-Man logo over the top, which doesn't look perfect, but probably looks pretty good it looks good at scale. Some of these look a lot better, like, you know, on your phone or on your TV when you're far away, but up close, I'm like, the details are bugging me, you know? This looks like Galactus Ultron, which is a recolor here, pretty boring and lazy again. It does look like I added a moon, or an Earth to his hand, which is kind of cool, but actually kind of hard to even see that because it's the same color as the background. I wish the background were a more dramatically different color, so that jumped out a bit more. This is like from one of the variants. It's hard to get good moons that match. This is, I guess, Doctor Strange and Taskmaster. But it's like Doctor Strange Supreme, yeah, which did have some weird, I remember it had like, it's really zoomed out, so the face is really ugly looking. Had some weird coloring too. Like that Strange Supreme card's got the weirdest colors. So I think I matched. That's why this coloring is so weird though. This like muted blue, muted brown. Just looks really ugly. I do remember being fairly proud of having the like the portal thingy here overlaid over Taskmaster's shield. I thought that looked pretty cool. I remember that being the only part of this I was proud of. This is Thanos and Infinity Ultron, which is cool in theory. And it looks okay. The coloring for Thanos is a bit weird. Like the body is that weird blue. It's like always a little bit hard to capture well, but I think it looks pretty cool, I guess. So this is Mystique and Captain Carter. Same kind of thing before. I had to like paint in the blue shift. The hair here too is kind of funny. But again, really boring. Captain Carter's another hard one to work with. Like the pose is so dramatic. It's really hard to fuse things in. This is Rhino and Lizard, it seems. So recoloring it green, giving it the lizard head. Looks like I'm doing a lot better with the edge lighting here, retaining that edge lighting and kind of even matching it here on the face. I like that the texture on these already kind of matched up. I'm sure that's why I picked lizard. I'm annoyed that this is cut off right here. Hard to notice, but this is Hydra Stomper and Human Torch, so that's going to be a recolor. It's actually not too hard to recolor these, that like orange yellow glow. You layer some fire under it and you layer some fire over it. That's how the base Human Torch art is. It's pretty complex looking, but actually pretty easy to execute on these, but they never do well. The fire ones, for some reason, I don't know, they don't read well. There's not enough contrast or something between the orange and the yellow. So they never do well on YouTube. I'm not sure. This is Nightcrawler and Batman. So this is like a recolor with Nightcrawler's face. Simple, but I think actually pretty effective and Actually looks really good. This is Fan-Fei and Symbiote Spider-Man. Some kind of Galactus combo, I guess. Yeah, again, just looks like a recolor to the Symbiote Spider-Man color with like the webbing also coming out of the top of the hands. Always a nice detail on these to remember. But yeah, kind of boring looking, nothing too fancy. This is Beta Ray Bill and Laufey this time around. Pretty cool. Adding the hammer into the hand, I remember being the kind of flourish here. Doesn't look super natural, but it works. I think it comes across. This thumbnail to me looks a little too low contrast. I wish the background were a slightly different color, but that means if you change the background, you got to update all this edge lighting too to match, which is a real pain. Looks like I missed some spots on the lighting. This down here should have that same red lighting that's on the edges of everything else, but otherwise, yeah, it's okay. This looks like Surge and Kitty Pryde. Remember something being weird about this one with like the arms or the glove? Yeah, I had to like make the glove come out of the arm of Kitty Pryde in the wall, but I think it actually looks pretty good. I don't like what I did here. This looks like this X was overlaid over the chest to match probably Surge's costume, even though that's Kitty Pryde's torso or whatever. But it looks like Surge's legs still, so I think it's actually turned out pretty good. This is Living Tribunal and Esme Cuckoo. So Esme Cuckoo's body recolored to match Tribunal's with some purple flourish, and then like these masks are always a little bit of a pain. I don't really even know or if I love exactly what I did with all the hair here, but you know, like I had to like manually do this chin. I remember, steal it from something. It was kind of a pain. Looks okay though. Gets the point across. This is Havoc and Surge, which is cool. So Surge recolor to match Havoc. Havoc's big chest thing there. That looks good, yeah. This is Esme, Cuckoo, and I guess Mr. Negative? Yeah, oh no, it's Miss Positive. Oh, so I think that was the play on this. Instead of giving it the inverted negative look, I gave it like an inverted positive look. Like, you know, it looks like Mr. Negative, but the bright version of that basically, which I don't know, it's kind of cool. It matches the characters in the thumbnail, which is nice. This is a whole other conversation trying to match these two. Sometimes it's more important about what the character is to convey the idea of the deck. Sometimes it's just about a visual match to make it look more interesting. This is Laufey and Ares. So took some of those Laufey crystals, plopped them on Ares, put Laufey's head on there, preserved the mohawk, did a skin recolor. Looks pretty good. You can tell I did not match the lighting though. This is the red lighting from Laufey, but yellow lighting here on Ares, which nowadays bugs me. This is Prodigy and Thanos. So recolor, add the chin lines, and give him a glove. Pretty simple stuff. Cerebro Surfer, yeah, okay. So just Cerebro's helmet on Silver Surfer. Pretty simple. They do both look really shiny, which nice, and just recolored to match the glow of Surfer's hand. Same thing here with Prodigy. I bet these are probably for the same video, and this one did really poorly, I bet. Or vice versa. I don't know which came first, but probably redid these to make the video perform better, because this one was probably bad. So did the Silver Surfer treatment on Prodigy. This was a variant video. This is Gorgon and Shadow King. So just a bit of a recolor on Gorgon, which I could see I missed part of it. This is red still instead of pink. Annoyed. Probably can't even tell that, but it's jumping out at me like a sore thumb. And Shadow King's background guy. Added the hat to Gorgon's head, which is a good detail. This is sick looking dude. Isan Ghost Rider. So recolor to match Ghost Rider. Added the chains instead of like Isan's staff or whatever. And then just added a bunch of fire, which looks actually super epic. It looks really, really good. This looks sick. Black Panther plus Elixir. Just did a recolor on Panther's body to match the Elixir coloring, which is pretty cool. And then like Panther's pose and stuff is just so awesome. Added the big X on the chest, obviously. I don't think I did a great job on the color match here. Like this looks a lot shinier than this, which sometimes is hard to do, but I think I could do better on the color match for both arms, honestly. This is Rock Slide and Gambit, which giving Rock Slide's head actually added like stone details to the fingers here. I remember that being some like clipping mask stuff I had to do. But then also the cards are rocks, which these are all like warped and out of perspective and stuff. So they don't really look good, but it's probably the best I could do. And I think it looks okay. This is Scarlet Spider and Gilgamesh, which the coloring on this sucks, but that's just Gilgamesh's coloring match. But I do like how I made the gloves line up here. This is pretty cool. Like the golden like gloves that Gilgamesh has, like the energy gloves thingies or whatever he puts over his hands. So that looks pretty good. This is Orca and Rhino. I feel like I did a version of this where I had the texture on the Orca helmet, but maybe not. I don't know. But adding the Orca anchor hook thing here, The face, just recoloring Rhino to be darker. Lighting looks good on this one, by the way. Good lighting. I'm sure that's not Rhino's base lighting. I think it's yellow. So did a good job with that for sure. This is Bishop and Toxin. I remember Toxin is really hard to work with because he's just so big and crazy, but I just kind of plopped his torso over Bishop's torso. I think I had to like manually cut out all of these little tendrils though. Like I think I had to manually trim all these out so that it was like not the Toxin body underneath, which is probably a lot of work, but it looks good. Probably not like the perfect perspective or size or whatever, but I think it really gets the point across. This is Hulkling and Magneto. So Hulkling's body and sword and stuff, but Magneto's head popped on there and a recolor done to the sword and everything to match the energy glow of Magneto. Looks actually pretty good. Not great lighting, I guess, but otherwise pretty good. This is Zorn and Stegron. This one was a real pain. It looks goofy, but actually kind of looks okay. A lot of weird work though here to get like the hands from Zorn and like the jacket he's wearing to fit on Stegron's crazy big body. I remember I had to like cut out these things he wears on his chest and lay them across. I think I had to like paint in part of this jacket to make it bridge the gap because it was like too wide or whatever. It was weird. Just remember it being weird. This is Red Hulk and Zorn. So pretty much just Zorn recolored, but with some extra rips, it looks like maybe in the clothing, which don't even look that well done, but probably get the point across a little bit. This is Six, Storm, and War Machine. So really just kind of Storm's hat on War Machine's body. I think it's been recolored to be a little bit more blue, of course. It's more like dark gray normally. Kind of have Storm's like cloak in the background still, which is cool, like her little cape thingies, and lots of extra lightning, which really adds to this a ton. Adding these like particle effects over the top always makes things look sick, especially coming out of the chest portal or whatever there for War Machine looked really, really cool, I thought. This one was crazy. It's Swarm and Cerebro, which was like impossible to combine normally. So I took the Cerebro variant where he's like the floating Cerebro with the armor or whatever, and like overlaid that over the top of no. I took the Swarm like texture of the bees and did like a clipping mask over Cerebro's body shape, but I'm pretty sure I have a version of this with better lighting. What month was this? When did like Zorn come out? Pretty sure I have a better version of this. I don't think this is the most up-to-date version. Let me see, we're not there yet. So it's 6. Are we only halfway through the year? I feel like we've been recording forever. I gotta go faster, man. I'm around out of time here. I think we're only in May, maybe. Yeah, we're in May. Yeah, I do have a better version of this. Yeah, okay. So that was like the first version. I don't know why I have that one instead of this one. I went in and adjusted the lighting so that there's like more depth and like shading and stuff. So you can see like he looks more three-dimensional. Like his leg here is shaded where it's bent, and like the edges have some more shading and stuff. I think probably the lighting a little different on the torso and stuff too. So just added a little bit more like depth and a little bit richer colors, it seems too. So made that one better. This is what Morgan Le Fay and Blink's coloring, I guess, which pretty simple but looks cool. I remember they had like, this is like a little bit more of a kind of teal as opposed to a green from Morgan Le Fay's costume, but looks good. This is Infinity Ultron and what's her name? Why can't I even think of her name? Vanessa? What's her name? You guys know what I'm talking about, the 2-3, whatever. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty boring, but it's okay. Mercury and Cannonball, good combination, basically giving the Cannonball like lower half, fire trail, and the goggles from Cannonball to Mercury. Not too much work, but pretty good. Thanos, Juggernaut, which is crazy. So recoloring Juggernaut's costume to look like Thanos, turn him purple, and give him a giant Infinity Gauntlet. I thought I remember thinking it was like irresponsible how big this Infinity Gauntlet was, but it just had to be to match the other hand of Juggernaut. So that's how it had to be. This is Doctor Doom and the Ancient One. So just a recolor and her head popped in. It works. I think the background portal thing there looks nice. This is Merlin and Morph. Just plopping in Merlin's head there, maybe even the hood, probably recolored, and giving the staff to this big old hand. Fireball on the other hand looks okay. Sasquatch and Rhino. So this is literally just recolor Sasquatch's head, but the lighting looks pretty good. I think I even added some lighting to the side of Sasquatch's face here to help sell that. This looks cool, dude. What is this girl's name? Why can't I think of this girl's name, dude? What on earth is her name? What is her name? Why am I saying Vanessa? That doesn't sound right. Jennifer. Jennifer's her name. Jennifer Kale, the most boring name ever. Anyway, Sunspot and Jennifer Kale together actually looks pretty sick, right? Her face is not supposed to match her body here, by the way. It's supposed to be more of that like Sunspot skin tone, but with like, you know, whatever the Sunspot costume color. But I think this looks really effective. Next up is Onslaught and the Ancient One, which is really cool, actually. Giving him the glyph hands or whatever is really sick. The coloring's really sick. That looks actually very cool. I think this actually had great views too. This is Kid Omega Nimrod. I talk about this one all the time because no one mentioned it because everybody was so mad about Kid Omega. But instead of holding his guns, he's holding tiny Nimrods, which I think is amazing. This is Sauron Nightmare. So just kind of doing a Sauron head on Nightmare's body. The only problem with this is that Nightmare's costume is already green. So it just looks like it's all green, which is like a little too much green. I wish I'd maybe done something there, but I don't know what you do because they're both naturally green. This is Sandman and Cobra. So Sandman's face popped in there and his like big hammer arm attached. But otherwise, I think, oh no, maybe did I add stripes to this? No, I think it already had stripes. Like Cobra's costume already had stripes, which just looked like Sandman's shirt, which has those same green with the dark stripes, which is probably why I fused those two together. This is Red Hulk and Galactus, which is a pretty cool combo. Taking that Galactus head we saw before, giving it the Red Hulk face, adding an Earth here from some other variant, I'm sure. Having some torn fabric-y elements here with like Galactus's little cod piece. I remember like manually putting that and the shoulder piece in, which was pretty hard to do, and this like arm piece. It all looked a little clunky, but like, I don't know, I think it actually looks pretty cool in total. It really sells the vision. This is Destroyer and Blob, so just adding Destroyer's face and all those little spikes basically on Blob's arms. This is M'Baku and Symbiote Spider-Man and Merlin. I went for the 3-for-1 here, giving it the Merlin staff and fire and like the chest here from Symbiote Spider-Man. This is always hard to overlay that that spider logo. I've got a few tricks for that. Like, I don't know, sometimes I grab like just a PNG from Google. Sometimes I steal from a different variant if it matches the body shape or whatever. This is, I guess, Null and Dormammu. So Null's face and hair, but the hair recolored to look like flames because of all of Dormammu's flames, which I think actually looks kind of cool. I think it looks nice. This is Astral Projection and Ultron for that like 2-card combo deck we had. So you know, just recoloring the costume to match the silver of Ultron basically. One detail some people might not notice is I also mirrored it in the background, much like the Astral Projection background, where there's like astral version behind it. It's been recolored to like that kind of transparent blue using the actual Ultron head. This is fun. Ironheart and Yellow Jacket together. People really responded well to this one, but I never liked it much. I don't think this one's that good. Something with the head perspective's weird, the coloring's weird, but people really loved this thumbnail and talked about it a lot. So I don't know. This is Dormammu and High Evo, so kind of a recolor, adding those rivets we talked about earlier. I never liked the way the head set in the fire here, but I remember it being really hard to get the like size, perspective, and coloring right on that one. So probably just a big challenge. This is who is that? That's Shauna and Clea together, which probably hard to tell, but it's just Shauna's face and her spear poking out, which I bet this one was really hard to work with because that pose again is like really, really dramatic. So that's probably why. Bro, I gotta pick up the pace. It has been an hour, dude. Ghost Rider and Iron Man, so just adding some fire, some chains, recolor. It looks pretty good. Ghost Rider's face is a little hard to zoom in this big, but sometimes you have to. This is fun. Galactus and Mr. Fantastic. Recolor, head pop on, and setting change here with like the background and stuff. I like it though. I think it looks good. It's good. Nice shape. This is Pedro Pascal and Scarlet Spider, so a bit of a recolor and adding Pedro's arm here. The only thing I don't like about this is that the like texture of the arm doesn't match across the arms. And I remember I added like the you know, the wrist things from Scarlet Spider, but you can see some weird layering there. I don't love how that looks, but it's okay. But yeah, pretty good, pretty effective still. Nice dramatic like pose and stuff. This is the Fantastic car with all the High Evo characters in it, which this one was kind of a nightmare. The recolor was weird. The lighting was weird on the recolor. Remember, you can kind of see that here. It looks strange. The perspective on all these characters, like High Evo's leaned way too far back. It looks strange. it was just really hard, but I like got in the middle of it and I was like too deep to fix it or change it, so we rolled with it. I think it did pretty good though. This is Herbie and Merlin, so I thought this was funny, giving the beard to Herbie, giving the hand with the mug from Herbie, and just doing a recolor on the robe. Pedro's face on a recolored Iron Lad there, pretty simple, but I think actually looks pretty clean. This I thought was really cool, but didn't do well. It's Infinity Ultron with the demon from the Hood's head on it, and like his necklace and stuff as well overlaid. Lots of fire. The sword instead of that weird like lance thing that Ultron has. I thought it was really cool, like really lighting, a lot of intense lighting in here too, but I think it was just too red. I think it just didn't read. The head's like too muddled in with the body and stuff. I probably needed to add some of the paneling to be like darker or something, because some of the paneling is gold, which reflects Ultron, but probably needed a little bit more contrast in the body to really sell the shapes and stuff. I think it just got too muddled. This is Silver Surfer with Human Torch First Steps, which remember I had to manually cut out all of this fire to recolor it the kind of, or the like reddish pink color of the like cosmic energy of Silver Surfer. And then of course recolor Surfer's body to, or Torch's body to silver. So this one was a ton of work. I think it actually looks pretty dang cool. I don't know if it was worth all the work though. This is Torch First Steps and Doom 2099, I guess, which is just like his head on there with some flame adjustments here and there. Nothing too fancy. Green Goblin and Doc Ock together, which just a recolor with the head. One weird thing I did, I don't think anybody noticed or liked, was I made the ends of the arms look like the orange like bombs of Green Goblin, which in hindsight I kind of hate. I thought, oh, they look like his bombs. How cute. They're the pumpkin bombs. I don't think that was a good idea though. This is Uatu and Dakin, so basically jacked Uatu. I remember being a little weird adding the like the cowl thing and the like sash over his chest, but I guess it works. This is Thing and Fastos. Remember the face not fitting weird, but Thing's really hard to work with. But getting the hammer to like fit in Thing's big hand was a cool achievement, I think. Probably a recolor on the lightning as well. This is actually a Grand Arena one where I took Mr. Fantastic's, I think, base Grand Arena champion art, and I put Skrull's head on it. And then it's probably hard to tell, but I adjusted the character to replicate various Fantastic Four members. You've got Mr. Fantastic is stretchy, of course. Invisible Woman here with the invisible hand. Like I manually made that hand the blue invisible. And you've got Things like stony texture on this hand. I guess I didn't do anything for Human Torch in hindsight, which is kind of weird. Maybe I made this orange for Torch, but that's probably just conveying the Thing. Maybe Torch wasn't in the deck or something. I don't know. But pretty cool. This is Herbie and Arnim Zola mashed up for Grand Arena as well. So like a recolor to match Arnim Zola. Gave it the like Arnim Zola face instead of the Herbie face. That was kind of cool. This is Mole Man and Ghost Riders. So Ghost Rider's face, recolor on Mole Man, lots of flames and chains. Ghost Rider's always pretty fun to work with. This is Mole Man and the Mad Thinker, which I called the Bad Stinker, because I would say he was a terrible card. And it's even funnier because he's like holding his fingers up to his nose and he's got that funny grin, which I thought was amusing. This is Invisible Woman First Steps in Misty Knight, which looks pretty cool with like Misty Knight's arm on that. It's a little bit different rendering detail, which I will say like all the old Marvel Snap cards have like had higher level detail and rendering than the newest ones, but sometimes hard to match those up, but it's okay. This is Black Cat and Invisible Woman First Steps. So giving her that invisible front arm was actually kind of a challenge that you could see some of the elements behind it, like the rock and the body. But thankfully, like the layering of Marvel Snap's art did make it a little bit more possible than you'd otherwise expect. This is OG Invisible Woman and Shadow King, so making the Shadow King demon guy look like part of her conjurings. This is Death and Blink, I guess. So Blink's like face markings and coloring, and the green costume. I remember this looked a little weird how it was like dark here, but that actually reflects Blink's like coat or something. I think she has like a leather coat on. This is Sandman and Galactus, which I don't know, it's kind of cool. I don't really love how the green is done here, but it was probably hard to get enough like green elements. That's probably what was that color on the base version. It was like blue versus pink or whatever. Sandman's hammer arm is there too. This is Black Panther Surfer, which is really cool. Surfer First Steps. I like this a lot. I kind of think I should do this more with Silver Surfer, where I like make them their normal color, but in the Surfer setting, and with like the dark surfboard. That looks really epic. This is what, Redshift and Ghost Rider, so making his face look skull-like and just giving him some flames and chains again. This is Korg and Terrax, so just making his normal stone elements look yellow and giving him Korg's face, I think. And that actually looks like I've also added Korg's like mallet thing as well, which is a pretty cool touch. This is Galactus and Galactus, so it's just new Galactus holding old Galactus, which is really funny. I had to do some work on these feet. These don't exist in the normal Galactus's arms, but it looked weird if you don't have the normal Galactus's art, I mean. So I had to like go find versions of Galactus's feet from some old comic panel or something, I don't remember, and like Photoshop them in. They don't really match up perfectly, but I needed something. I tried to hide it with rocks, it looks like. This is what, Electra and Mercury, so giving like Mercury's silver and like spiky stuff to Electra. Looks kind of cool. I think that's probably also Mercury's hair color. This is what's her name? Oh god, Frankie Ray Nova with Symbiote Spider-Man, which I remember being a little bit of weird from a coloring challenge, particularly around the head or whatever, but because I had to like paint out her face, basically like her lips and nose are there in the normal art, but I had to make it look like the mask, so I had to like smooth that out and do work there, which actually looks kind of okay, I guess. This is what, Redshift and Wolverine, which is pretty cool. Like Wolverine's body with Redshift, but recolored. This is Hellion and Human Torch, again with that same torch thing. Fire in the back, fire in the front, recolor them orange. Pretty easy stuff. This is Ghost plus Patriot. I remember you guys responding really well to this one too. I don't remember being super hard. So it's always nice when I think there's probably a lot of cutouts on this one, it looks like, but it didn't seem too challenging. This is White Tiger's Tiger and Odin. I remember this being so weird to figure out, but I just couldn't figure anything out for this thumbnail, so I just did it. And that beard we talked about earlier actually did blend really nicely with White Tiger's fur, so that like worked out pretty well. I did a little bit of manual blending to like get them to fuse together, but I thought it looked okay. And it's like, sure, why can't this tiger be an anthropomorphic tiger wearing a Odin costume? I also put the necklace from White Tiger over here on his hand. Small detail you might not notice. This is the fallen one in Symbiote Spider-Man. So Symbiote Spider-Man's face and the hair there, and then stealing the chest logo from Symbiote Spider-Man. Like I talked about earlier, sometimes I have to like manually cut it out from like, random logo or whatever. But if the pose is roughly the same as Symbiote Spider-Man's with like kind of a turned body, you can just take the one from Symbiote Spider-Man and overlay it, and it usually looks pretty good like this. So it's nice when they do line up that way. This is Stardust and Living Tribunal, which is pretty cool. Just kind of a recolor, put the trident in there, line the faces up, and you're good to go. This is Airwalker and Human Torch. I think we changed this one. Yeah, I did. I had to change it because it was like, again, the fire ones never do well. Like, I don't know what it is. I made it Venom, which is way higher contrast, and this one did way better. Like, once I did this, the numbers improved a ton. So there you go. This is Annihilus and Ultron, which is cool. Pretty simple, just recolor to silver for Ultron, but the details of Annihilus with Ultron's head actually looks pretty sick. People do respond really well to these like big villain ones too, I think. This is Leech on Cosmic Ghost Rider, so it's about putting Leech's torso and like recoloring it to match. I think I had to overlay those shoulder pads and the chain and stuff, but surprisingly not as complex as you might think. Although I will say Cosmic Ghost Rider is a really hard one to work with, I suspect, in the future. I think that'll, if I ever need to do it again, cause problems. This is Nightmare and Zero. So just Nightmare's head on Zero's body, recolored to match. I can tell you did a good job of the lighting change here. This is like a really nice one where the green is very dramatically lit. That is almost certainly not in Zero's base art. So seeing some of that lighting come into play is nice. Iron Man Onslaught here. Pretty cool, actually. Just Iron Man's head in there and a recolor, but it looks epic. Again, those big villains always tend to do well. This is Viv Vision and Awesome Andy. So just making her look like a stone and putting the stone head on there. I don't know why I really hate how I've got her. I may have fixed this later. I don't know. I've got her. The background is going outside the border of the card. I hate that. That's normally not something I do. Oh, this one was cool. It was Sparky and Eliath. So taking like Eliath's coloring and giving it to Sparky, because I thought his fur kind of looked like the Eliath clouds anyway. Doing the eye recolor helps convey that, and then the like sparking electricity of Eliath as well helps convey that pretty well. So I think this one looks pretty cool. This is Moira and Misery. This one was really tough. I did do this eye overlay to make it look like there's more, you know, symbiote stuff happening to Moira. I think that looks kind of bad in hindsight. Probably could have just stuck with the arms and been fine. I think I did a version 2. Oh yeah, here it is. Oh, this actually looks way better. Yeah, okay. I did go back and do a version where I made her fully red, and this looks so much better. I'm sure this like underperformed and I was annoyed, so I probably did this. And I changed the name of the thumbnail too here as well. It's probably way better. This is so much better. It's like it's a better looking thumbnail with a double death. That's a more interesting hook, and she just looks 1,000 times better. So you can see the improvements. This is cool. Hazmat and Omega Sentinel. That's pretty sick. Hazmat coloring and helmet. This looks actually really good. That looks clean. That looks like it could be like an official variant. That actually looks super tight. Conchu Apocalypse. This one is so sick, dude. It's so sick. I love this one a lot. Like Apocalypse already had that neck thing we talked about earlier from Conchu, right? So it's like just cut out the Apocalypse head, float Conchu's skull over it, and it looks so sick. Good edge lighting on this one. I do think the belt is slightly the wrong hue. Probably can't tell from far away, but it's like a little too green. This is Bastion and Demon, which I think looks kind of terrible. I don't know. I think it's too, I don't know, too red. The background's weird. I don't remember much about this. I don't know, but I don't like the way it looks at all. Why do you have Demon and Bastion together anyway? I wonder if I changed this. I wonder if this is not the first iteration. This is Cable and Vision, which actually looks pretty sick, I guess. Cable and Vision. I just have Cable's arms on Vision's body. I don't remember making this, guys. I'm the only person who makes these, so I had to. I really don't remember much about this. But it looks pretty cool, man. It looks pretty sick. Like recolored to Cable's costume color. I guess the arms just lined up really well with Vision's pose, but I just really don't remember making this much. I don't know. Oh, Shang-Chi and Shadow King. I really don't remember much about this one either, but I do kind of remember thinking like this looked bad, but I remember just like I didn't have time to do anything else, and I was like, it makes sense because Shang-Chi has that dragon behind him, you know, and it's gold and orange like this. So it's okay. I gave him Shadow King's hat again, which is funny. This looks sick. Starbrand Galactus. That's really cool. With the Galactus First Steps head on the Starbrand body. Did a bit of a recolor on the loincloth there. This is cool. Gambit Prodigy. Just a bit of a face swap really is all you have to do. Background swap. Looks like I did a lighting swap. Although actually I kind of remember Gambit having some teal lighting anyways. I don't know how much I did. Apparently brightened it up a little. This is Jim Hammond plus the Fallen Ones. I just did a recolor and gave his hair that like starry look, which I was pretty proud of that feature. I remember probably not even honestly noticeable, but cool. This is Kang plus what's his name? King Eitri. So just literally Kang's head and a recolor. Pretty simple, but looks okay. Oh, this is sick. This is Danger and I guess Agony. Yeah, for like a merge deck. Yeah, so like Agony's coloring. She has that kind of purple and red, but looks pretty cool. I remember this being a lot of work to like cut out all the little chest elements and stuff, but I like it. It looks good. This is cool. This is Beta Ray Bill and Galactus First Steps, which this is sometimes I would say this is almost like too muddled of a coloring, like it's a lot of burgundy, but I think it looks pretty good actually. I think it's just enough silver highlights and stuff, and the face and skin tone jump out. It actually looks pretty great. I think this looks really good. Oh, this is cool. Warlock and Cyclops. So doing a recolor on the Warlock, adding these Cyclops I-beams. I had to line up a little bit, but I remember they fit pretty well, all things considered. I think added some like X logos to the belt and the chest. Man, it's funny. Like this last little stretch of like the last 10 thumbnails, I don't really remember making as well as some of the ones I made like early in the year. I don't know. Maybe I was like really busy at this time or something, but I don't even remember this either. Like, I don't know. This is what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? War guy. What's his name, guys? Warlord? What's his name? Warpath. With Destroyer's body, of course. So just doing like a recolor for Warpath's costume. Remember adding the like bands here late in the process really seemed to make it look a lot more like Warpath. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me though that it's like his normal head, but I don't know if it would have conveyed the character if it wasn't. So probably had to be. Oh, here's another Swarm Cerebro, but instead of going the route last time with the other one, this one is like, you know, giving the helmets to the bees, which I know these aren't actually purple in the final version. I must have another non-final version here, but I know I made that purple glow blue for the final version. But recolor Swarm to blue and give the, I don't even know if these are noticeable. I tried to make this one like extra big so it was more noticeable, but I don't even know if people noticed, but I think it was pretty cute. So this is Kang and Thanos, which looks pretty cool. The perspective's not perfect on the head, but it still gets the job done. This is Jocasta Black Cat. So just popping Jocasta's head basically on Black Cat. Pretty simple there. This is Super Adaptoid, which, God, I forgot that's a card. This has not been seen once since it came out, I don't think. With Lasher. So just doing a green recolor and adding the Lasher tendrils. Oh, this is Shocker Ultron, which is pretty cool. Just Shocker's helmet and a recolor. I thought like the texture from Shocker's helmet kind of looked enough like the Ultron body panels that it kind of matched up. This is Destroyer Venom, which is pretty cool. Just Venom's head on Destroyer's body recolored with a big old this, I don't know where this comes from. This doesn't look like the Symbiote Spider-Man one, but it does have some kind of like ab texturing, so it must have been from somewhere. Maybe a variant, I can't remember. This is Morph Super Adaptoid. I think I gave Morph's big fat arm here, but flipped the Super Adaptoid body. Trying to recolor the elements to look more neutral, I think. I don't remember exactly. Oh, this is cool. Scarlet Witch plus Angela. Scarlet Witch zombie, you know, plus Angela. So just a recolor here a little bit, mostly to make it look like Angela. I think I added this sword in kind of awkwardly. It's like super blown up because it's crazy low res and you have to blow it up so much to make it fit the texture, but that arm down there looks like it kind of could be holding it. The zombie ones in general, like making stuff look zombie is going to be a theme for this next set of variants. It's kind of hard to do. This is Headpool, obviously. For this one, it's Deathlock and Headpool. I remember thinking I hardly ever use Deathlock. I remember I had to find this chunk of like flesh from some other, I don't remember who it's from, some other zombie variant, obviously, and I thought it kind of looked like, you know, a decapitated head neck slot, which would make sense for Headpool's head floating over Deathlock. This thumbnail, though, got this video demonetized. It wasn't at first, it had like a half a day or something. I don't know if it's the good head. I think that should fly. Like, obviously, there's some innuendo there, but I think it was the decapitated neck. I think it was considered too gruesome, actually, more than the kind of pun innuendo here. This is sick. Apocalypse Captain America. I really liked this because the A's lined up. The A on Cap's helmet or whatever mask, and the A on Apocalypse's neck lining up. I thought was really cool. But this has a lot of that custom zombie stuff, where I had to find different zombie elements and overlay it to look like, you know, fleshy zombie bits in Apoc's body. So like find this and cut out a chunk and lay it in. You know, this arm looks a little funky, but it does the job. But the one part I was really proud of here is the like cord or whatever that's running from Apoc's arm. I made it look like a fleshy entrail. I had to like layer over this like red fleshy texture. I have some like drips coming off of it and stuff. That was all done manually. This is Zombie Power Man and Green Goblin, so a bit of a recolor, adding some like zombie elements to Green Goblin's face, like chunks of his ears missing and stuff to match up. The glowing eyes of all the zombies. I remember the green was like, he was already kind of green because it's like that zombie green, so it sort of worked out well. This is Ghost Rider Zombie Cap, so pretty much just Zombie Cap with Ghost Rider's face and some fire added to it, which I think looks actually super sick. This looks epic. Zombie Mr. Fantastic here meshed up with, I guess, Zombie Giant Man? I don't even know. What's the red supposed to convey here? I don't even remember. Doesn't really convey another character enough that it's obvious. Maybe that's Giant Man's face? I think so, because it's got those like ant things. Zombie Joaquin Torres for the Hunger here. But those are like characters from the background of the Hunger. And then a zombified Joaquin, which again is the same trick, like laying over some like fleshy bits. I did some weird stuff with like little feathers on his arms because it was like kind of weird how I didn't have his arms, like the, you know, the wings go all the way up his arms and they didn't match up on like this part of the arm that's visible on both of these. So I added some like little feathers, like the feathers had been plucked out or whatever, which looks terrible up close, but hopefully the idea comes across at scale. This is Baron Zemo and Zombie Power Man, so just adding like the zombie hands and some like torn fabric along the wrists. I remember I had to like manually do that fabric, and the neck too, right? Like just doing that was the only hard part there. Merlin and Werewolf by Night, so just plopping the head in, plopping the hand in, pretty easy, but doesn't look that good. What is this? Star Dude and Stardust and Cap. This one was pretty simple. I left an arm back here. I'm sure that's not the final version. I think on some of these I grabbed like my first pass instead of the final pass, which is unfortunate, but I don't know. This is Nimrod and Galactus. I'm sure this is not the final pass of this, by the way. I know I did this better, yeah. This one was tough, though. It's like Nimrod's body is so simple, it's hard to make it look like Galactus's body. But I know I have a better version of this. Hold up. Where is that? Where's the final version? Yeah, here you go. So that's like the first version, and then this is the final version. Like getting the helmet to match and stuff was such a pain. Getting the lighting to match and stuff was such a pain. I basically added like more texture in to kind of look more metallic and stuff. I don't even know. They probably can't even tell they look that different, to be honest. I'm realizing, like, looking at them in small scale, they don't even look different. My God, how much work do I do on these for no difference? But anyway, it mattered to me. This is obviously Professor X and Daredevil. This is just, you know, plopping him in the chair, basically. I had to do some stuff weaving the band of the baton around. This is Zombie Galacti plus Khonshu, obviously, just doing that neck brace in silver on everybody. Just kind of did it once and repeated it. I had to line it up a little bit, but not hard. This is Zombie Sentry and Nightcrawler, which is pretty cool. Just, again, doing some recolor, basically, to make him match. The white on the gloves and boots was actually pretty tough, I remember, because it was, like, dark at a base. That's always hard to work with. This is Leader plus Hulk. Just a new head and a recolor. You can see some like rendering detail differences here. Like Leader's head is much more highly detailed and much thinner line work. It's hard to avoid that sometimes though. This is War Machine plus Dr. Doom. So just recoloring the Doom suit to match, adding some of the War Machine like weaponry to the shoulders. This is Zombie Pedro and Zombie Galacti. Again, just making Pedro's face look zombified. This is Heimdall and Spider-Punk. This one was like pretty tough to recolor, I remember, and like getting the guitar to line up was super tough. I think I had to manually paint some of this guitar in and stuff to make it like fit, because part of it's like covered up by the arm in the real version. I tried to use these little sound thingies, the little energy effects to hide some of the seams and weirdness. Probably looks pretty good at scale, but it was a nightmare to work with. This is Man Spider plus Absorbing Man, which was super fun. Giving him all the extra arms. Like trying to figure out where to put them was kind of weird, and trying to make them look like they naturally lined up was kind of weird, but I think it actually looks pretty good, honestly. I'm pretty happy with that one. This is M'Baku Lockjaw. This is just making it look like M'Baku's riding Lockjaw. I like how his staff is kind of resting across his back. High Evo and Spider-Man Returns. So Superior Spider-Man, not Spider-Man Returns, Superior Spider-Man he's called now. This one was tough, like giving that spider banding to his like shoulder pad things that carried on from the face, but other than that, just kind of a recolor. And the arms, being added. Uatu Thanos, pretty simple. Add the lines on the chin. Give him the gauntlet, recolor, and call it a day. This is Ezekiel plus Spider-Man, just recoloring Spider-Man to match Ezekiel's colors. Nothing too fancy there. You can tell I did pretty good work on the lighting here to maintain the lighting, even though I changed it to green. This is a horrifying Magic Meek variant combo. This art style matched up pretty well from these two variants I opened. One detail no one might notice is I removed her hand to match Meek's missing hand on his left hand. It's painted out. Great details. Here's another Iron Man anti-venom we saw that we kind of liked less. This is Nightmare Gladiator, just new face, recolor, good lighting retained. This is Web Sling plus Galactus. This one was actually pretty hard to get the lighting right, because this character is like super in silhouette and it's only backlit. So like, the Galactus mask is a pretty good silhouette, but you still needed a little bit in that face to come across. So like cutting out the bright lighting here on like some of the like mask elements so that they sort of conveyed the shape was really important, because you kind of see that still in the front as well on these other things. So shockingly terrible and did awful for views. I think it was just too simple or too dark of a thumbnail to catch people's eyes. That's the Spider-Man Noir Marvel Boy. I also did one with Spider-Man Noir Rhino. I had you guys vote on Twitter. You guys picked the Rhino. It also just did better on the YouTube A/B testing. This is Nicholas Scratch plus Spider-Punk's Deafening Chord, which it was really just about putting the guitar and arm of Spider-Punk on Nicholas Scratch, which sounds simple, but it was actually crazy hard. I don't think this is the final version either. I think I actually took the like first versions on a lot of these. The final version had a lot of tweaks with like the arm size and like, I don't know. I literally have like 20 versions of this. Does this one look different at all? The arm is recolored to purple because I think the green was blending in too much and it made it look like his arm was super skinny. I think I made like the hands a little bigger at one point. The guitar changed perspective a lot. A lot went into this one. It was actually super hard and not worth it. This is Adam Warlock Zombie Galacti. There's another version of that that has zombie details in there though. That's clearly not it. This is Orca Mr. Fantastic, which actually super easy really because the helmet matched the coloring on Mr. Fantastic's elements perfectly. It was actually really easy and I think it looks pretty good. This is Prowler Spider-Man 2099, I think, yeah, which was a cool combo, just a recolor. Actually looks kind of epic, I think. Looks pretty sick. This is really cool. Warlock Snowguard. So doing the Warlock recolor to the like Snowguard animals, you know, with that like teal and pink. Actually shockingly easy too. It's really easy to do in Photoshop. You just kind of like adjust the dark to pink and adjust the light to blue and like tweak it a little bit and it's like kind of job done. But I think it actually looks really, really cool. This is Adam Warlock Dakin. Only hard part on this is like cutting out the tattoos to readjust their coloring. This is Weapon X Venom, which there's another version of this too, which I tested both and they just made no difference. But I did a version where it's just a recolor and his hair is still visible, but it bothered me how the hair was still visible for this through the symbiote suit. So I did a version where I painted out the hair. So again, no reason to do this, but I painted out the hair to make it look more like a symbiote suit, you know, instead of hair. No reason to do it at all, but it does look a little better, but it actually performed worse on YouTube. This is Adamantium Infusion plus Elixir, which is actually pretty sick. There was a nice line down the middle to kind of naturally hide the difference between those two. This is negative Odin, nothing fancy there, same negative stuff. This is Chamber Eson, so Eson recolor with the Chamber Fire. People responded really well to that one. This is a Grand Arena Cosmic Invasion Iron Man body with Sentinel's head and coloring, which no one would ever know, but technically it is. This is, of course, Ebony Maw on Wade Wilson's body with a recolor. Pretty simple, but actually looks pretty cool. This is the Hood's body recolored to match Spider-Man Noir with Spider-Man Noir's head, which really cool thematic fit between those two. And this is my most recent thumbnail at the time of recording. This is Khonshu's head on Weapon H's body with the Khonshu neck piece and the claws recolored to gold to match the neck piece, and the bones sticking out actually brightened up a bit to match Khonshu's bone coloring as well. Small details nobody will notice, but made me pretty happy. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is a year of Regis Kilbin thumbnails. Details provided, insights provided. Hope you guys enjoy these. It's really, really fun. Oh, one detail on this is cool is I extended the shadow of his neckline here to be a point. It's pointed to match the point of the beak. See how this goes down to a point? Like, come on. That's a cool freaking detail, guys. Come on, dude. So anyway, I love doing this stuff. It's always really fun. Hope you guys appreciate it. I appreciate you watching all the videos, of course. So thank you a ton for joining me on this crazy long journey of a thumbnail review. And yeah, let me know what you want to see in future thumbnails, cool combinations, all that fun stuff. But love you all a ton. Have a good next year. Thanks for watching, and I will see you around.